Well, hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Your Manchester with me, Miss Belinda Scandal.
And Brandon McCaffrey.
And our very special guest to join us in the studio today is the absolutely fantastic, the legendary Miss Julie Hesmondhalgh.
Hello everyone.
How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming to see us. It's very exciting. You've been busy.
Yeah, well, it's not been massively busy. I can pull off this amazing trick. I've realised that everybody thinks I'm working all the time.
Yes.
Even when I'm not, which is brilliant. But yeah, it's been a little bit quiet the latter end of last year.
Yeah.
It's picking up again now. So I'm just about to go to London to start.
How was the pandemic for you? I don't want to dwell on it, but was it a nightmare for you?
I was incredibly lucky. So I was about to start a job right at the beginning of the pandemic, and literally the Monday after, and they were still pretending it was going ahead, and everyone was like,
I don't think it is.
It's just going, everyone knew.
Right.
And we managed to get it filmed in the autumn, so it got cancelled, but I knew it was coming. So all that first bit of the pandemic, I knew I had worked. So we were one of the first things. It was The Pact. It was a big BBC One thriller.
Oh, yes. You saw it.
And so it was the first thing really to be filmed out of lockdown. So it was quite challenging, because we were having to whip off
all the
masks,
stuff you've got. Because you've constantly got all the COVID restrictions and stuff.
Testing
I know when I did the
every
advert,
day.
you were constantly just going, we've got to do different versions with people with masks, got to do it without, you've got to be there. Yeah. Constantly being vigilant.
Yeah, and obviously the threat of it, the fear of it all the time. But actually it was really great. And then I did a tour of the one woman play that I do that my husband wrote. So I did that in the summer. And again, we were just like, we picked these dates, like our producers picked these dates randomly, and we're just like, right, we'll start in May and we'll finish in July. And it just happened to be when the theatres opened. We missed it by a week, and then we could put that week somewhere else. So dead lucky.
So the one woman show, what's that about then?
So ages ago, I said to my husband, who's a writer. I mean, he's not a plumber. I didn't.
I said to him, how would you feel about writing a play?
So what's the point of being married to a writer? That's Coronation Street, actually, now. It didn't when I was there.
Right.
I said, what's the point of being married to a writer if you never write anything for me? So bless him, over one Christmas, he went down to the cellar where I keep him. And
she ended up being like, go on, keep writing.
And he just came up after Christmas. And it wasn't even like disappearing for annoying amounts of time. He'd just like go away and like just enough to make me think like he's on FIFA for like 10 minutes. And then he came back with this beautiful one-woman show about love and loss and the golden record on Voyager 1 and like what you want to be remembered for, all set on a northern street. And so we did it. We did it at Edinburgh. We did it at Manchester Royal Exchange. Then we took it to Edinburgh. Then we did it on tour last year. So I took it to London, to West End for a little spot just before the pandemic.
I mean, because if you think about the Royal Exchange, it's kind of you and Miss Peake, isn't it? That are the kind of queens of the Royal Exchange.
You are quite well known for being in and around that sort of area.
Well, me and Matt really laugh about it. Actually, we were just like, oh, God, we need to do something together. It'd be like De Niro and Pacino. And when they finally appear together in heat.
I look forward to the Godmothers coming out. This is it.
You actually worked with Maxine?
No, we've never worked together.
Possible?
I know. So we're like, we say we'll have to do something together at some point.
I say the same thing about me and Liam Neeson. Like, honestly,
never seen in the same room together.
Do you know what? I think this too.
And me and Rita Fairclough. Never seen in the same room. Never ever. Never. I don't know
what you and Pat Phoenix. I've never seen you in the same room either.
Listen, we're going to be talking to you throughout the show, so thanks very much for staying with us. But in the meantime, there's loads going on in the world of theatre at the moment, and one play that is absolutely taken over Salford at the moment.
Yes, it is.
It's loosely based on the works of Morecambe and Wise, but it's actually more than that, everybody. Now, our Ashley Stone, he went and did a little review for this play, and it's actually called The Play That I Wrote.
Hi, I'm Ashley Stone, live here at the Lowry Theatre in Salford Quays for Your Manchester. I've just had one of the best Monday nights ever watching a fantastic show called The Play What I Wrote. It stars, of course, Dennis Herdman, Mitesh Soni and Tom Tuck. It tells the story of two fantastic friends and actors. One of them, of course, well, I won't tell who, wants to go on the road with his partner in a Morecambe and Wise tribute, but the other one wants to write a play. And the play is something which the show is all about. This show is an absolute brilliant homage and a very heartfelt, with some sad bits and some funny bits, tribute to the artistry and sheer genius which is Morecambe and Wise. Every night they have a celebrity guest. Sometimes it could be Kylie Minogue, Ewan McGregor, Joanna Lumley, to name but a few. And tonight, because every night, if you are privileged enough to go and see this, and I can't stress enough, you've got to go. Tonight, we were blessed with the one and only Sir Charles Dance. He made a fantastic guest appearance, a cameo where he really poked fun at himself, just like the TV show Morecambe and Wise, where they had a fantastic celebrity guest. It runs now until the 5th of February. If you really want to go out in February and have a fantastic belly laugh, come along and see it. The Play What I Wrote, running now until the 5th of Feb at the Lowry Theatre in Salford Keys.
Sunshine in your smile, bring me laughter, knockout all the while. Bring me sunshine, bring me love.
And joining us in the studio right now is one of the fantastic people behind that very production. Please welcome the one and only Mitesh Soni. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
It's a fantastic show. Everybody is talking about this one. Perhaps first of all, explain the concept and the idea behind the show, the storyline. What's the meaning?
There's definitely no meaning to this show. The basic storyline is like about a duo, Tom and Dennis, who want to continue doing their Morecambe and Wise duo impressions that they normally do, but Tom wants to now write his own play and wants to split from the duo, but Dennis still wants to keep that duo going. So he tries to get me, Arthur, to try and trick Tom into still doing their duo. But Tom is only interested in writing his play, the Play What I Wrote, and it's basically a comedy hijinks to see who gets out on top and what comes out there.
I mean, it's doing very, very well. I mean, we've got to talk about the special appearances that you have from these people that just seem to want to be part of the show. Why do they want to be part of the show so much?
It's because it's ridiculous. It's great fun. You know, we've had people like Tom Hiddleston, Charles Dance, Lee Wells, Carl Cranky, Gary Ritchie, Sue Holderness. These are just a few of the people we've had so far. Previously, when I did it 20 years ago, Kylie was on board. You can tell when they come on, they're like only in the last 15 minutes, but when they come on, they're absolutely petrified the first time they want to do it. But by the end of that first time they've done it, they're literally like, we want to come back and do it. And it's great for the audience to see somebody who they think would never normally do comedy have the rip taken out of them so much by those three actors.
It is fantastic. And we should say, this is not a tribute show of Morecambe and Wise. This is something totally, totally different. To those people that may think that they're coming to watch a Morecambe and Wise tribute show, perhaps alleviate their thoughts.
No, you don't need to know Morecambe and Wise to come and enjoy the show. It helps if you do, because you'll get some of the references as an extra layer. But I've known people that have come to see this, like I myself, I've been around during the time of Morecambe and Wise, but I've known people as well that have come to see this, don't know anything about Morecambe and Wise, just love the daft comedy of it all, and then go and research Morecambe and Wise afterwards, just to add a little bit more to what they've seen. So you don't need to see many of it, you just need to appreciate that funny comedy.
Now, was you a fan of Morecambe and Wise?
I wasn't around when they were around, so I'm unfortunately a bit young to know too much about them. So I had to research all about Morecambe and Wise when I auditioned for the job. But you know, now that I know more about them, I look at their sketches and look what they do. Arthur Tulcher, who I play in the show, also featured in their sketches. So it's like it's clean and it's just daft and innocent comedy, which you don't get too much of these days.
So it is old school comedy at its finest. Perhaps entice people as to why they should, why the younger generation should perhaps invest in the comedy of Morecambe and Wise.
I think because, yes, it is old school and it's innocent. I think the younger generation would love it just to see that humour that you don't really see a lot of these days. Do you know what I mean? It's very physical, it's very innocent. It's very fast. It comes at you really fast, so you really just get joke after joke after joke after joke. And sometimes you find yourself groaning because some of the jokes are just like, oh, of course he's made that kind of pun, or of course, you know, that's what's happened. But that's part of the fun of it. But, you're seeing something that doesn't need all of the, the 17,000 people on the big stages. We've got daft songs, we've got some of the guests, we've got sunshine, and that's a lot of laughs, really, which is a brilliant thing to have.
I mean, it is just doing phenomenally well. It's with us in the Lowry until the 5th of February. How are tickets selling? I'm guessing it's a full house every night.
So far, so good. There are still seats, so, definitely, I'm just fill it up, because obviously the sound of 1,000 people laughing is something I won't get over for a very long time. That sound, that water sound, it's joyous, because what you guys give to us, we give double it back to you. And it just works as a whole thing. So more people will even better.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for your time today. An absolute pleasure to speak to you. And bring me sunshine. I think it's a phrase that a lot more people should be using on a lot more of a regular basis. For now, Mitesh, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Your smile. Do you know the next bit?
Do you know what? We do this every time. We've sang that song twice on this show, and every single time we do not. All the while.
In your smile.
All the what? Yeah.
I'm learning the Maud theme tune at the moment. Have you ever watched Maud?
No.
No. There's a wonderful program with B. Arthur that came out in the 70s called Maud, and it's influential. Influential, it really was. Well, I should say happy
Chinese New Year.
Happy Chinese New Year.
Yes, happy Chinese New Year.
Lunar.
It's the year of the tiger.
Year of the tiger. I've got the eye of the tiger.
It's a singing show now, though.
It is. It's good, isn't it? There was lots of fireworks going off. It was absolutely fantastic.
It was.
It was a nice, noisy.
Are you Year of the Tiger?
Year of the Tiger.
Are you Year of the Tiger?
Well, in theory. In theory, I'm always a tiger, although I look like a lion, but I was actually born on the year of the ox.
Year of the ox?
Yes.
I'll let
everybody figure out when that was. Do you know what Chinese symbol you were when you were born?
Year of the rat.
I'm dog.
You're the dog.
Oh, dear.
They say they're the immortal ones. I can't trust you now, Julie.
Exactly. And also, of course, it's a very special month this year.
It is. It's LGBT History Month.
It is indeed.
LGBTQ History Month.
Yes, it goes on. There's another 9 letters after that.
Yeah, there's a plus and an 8. I just can't afford.
I will learn them all, and I'll sit here one day, and you'll be dead impressed, and I'll just go blah like that.
We'll do a flag day. We'll do a day where you can point to all the flags, and you have to guess which one it is.
Well, I did a question yesterday at my quiz.
Did you actually?
Yeah, about the flags, and the official flag, rainbow flag.
Yeah,
the official rainbow flag, not to do with the LGBT, has only got 7 colours in it. So 7 colours, and there's so more
every day.
Yeah,
there's always something new to learn. In fact, why don't we learn what's on the box with our Hayley? Here she is.
Let's do that.
Hi, I'm Hayley and welcome to this week's On The Box. Now, one of the films I would love to recommend is My Days of Mercy. That is currently on Prime and it stars Elliot Page, who plays a lady whose father is on death row and she falls in love with another woman who is on the opposing side of her family's political cause. Another film on Prime is Birds of Paradise, and that is about 2 elite dancers who are competing in a dance school for a place in a company. I've also just started watching Wheel of Time. That is on Prime, and it is set in a fantasy world where magic exists, but only some people can access it. Now that's it from me. I shall catch you next time. And remember, stronger together. Bye.
So absolutely loads on in there. Loads to watch. You've done so many programmes. Do you have a favourite that you've done?
You're not allowed to say Coronation Street.
No, you can if you wish. I mean, we'll talk about it in depth in a minute. But I mean,
it's really alright. I mean, I think I did an interview with Russell T Davies quite recently, and I interviewed him and I said, what would be the one, what would you take with you on your golden record? One? And he said he thinks it'd be a little Dalek, because he knows that even though Queer as Folk was so seminal and so important, there's the programme that sort of
is your heart.
And that you'll always, and I think for Russell it was Doctor Who, and for me it is Corrie, but I've loved everything. I mean, I loved loved doing Cucumber, which was the first job I did.
Yeah. Oh, I
Corrie.
loved Cucumber. What
And
a show.
It's a really, really interesting one because we thought it was going to be the new Queer as well. I mean, it
well, I had
we
like
thought
3
it would
different
take
series
off.
as well. You had like cucumber, banana, tofu.
Absolutely. And we were just all set for like international stardom because of it. We thought it was going to take off like that. And it never did, and Russell talks about it as well. And we don't know whether it was a little bit ahead of its time because it was a lot about, fluidity and sexuality and it's like openness in it. And I don't know whether it's because it was about older gay men or what, but we loved it. And it kind of, it was one of those that was a slow burn, and people who stuck with it really got the rewards of it. But some people just didn't enjoy the first episode. But I think it's a bit of a.
I think it's one of those ones you had to binge.
Well, you compare Queer as Folk next to Cucumber. You had Queer as Folk that did what on the programme that nothing else had done, whereas Cucumber was more about it's the heart and it was the characters, whereas Queer as Folk, it was about what they were doing, how were they able to put this on screen. So it was clever.
It's amazing watching Queer as Folk.
It's
like realising how out there it was. Really,
I think I find it really looking at them on sets and go like, I've been in that bar, I was there last night. I find that the weirder moment.
It was all strange.
I mean, doing Cucumber was like this glorious summer, all of us together, just like absolutely loving it.
It has some incredible twists. I remember that. I think it's episode 5 twist. For anyone that's not seen it,
no spoilers.
No spoilers. But the episode 5 twist was
well, I think the people who stuck with it to that really got it.
You got the whole sensation.
I think people revisit it over the years. That's what I think that people go back to.
It feels like one of those shows that is very much a British iconic kind of show. It's one of those ones that happened once and you would come back to. It's not something you would sit there and go like, this would go on for series and series and series. But it's something that for one series was great.
Now, one character that you can't return to, unfortunately, is, of course, our Hayley.
Of course,
I mean, that you're talking about, the impact of something. That was a really special character. Yeah,
it really was. And I think that, I've never really underestimated, what an impact that had. And I talk, obviously I get asked about Hayley all the time. And I get asked, well, would you play that role now? And of course I wouldn't. It's like, I can't believe that's even like ever a headline. It was of its time. And it wasn't like it was an unthinking thing that I went into it doing it. I genuinely thought at this level of profile, especially, the amount of viewers that Coronation Street had then, I just thought this would be unbearable pressure on somebody who potentially could be quite vulnerable anyway, someone who transitioned. And I just thought, no, actually, I think this is right that I can go in this and represent. And I was an ally from the start. But I understood at the same time why trans activists were very, very concerned.
Did you know the way that the Hayley story was going to pan out? Did you know you were going in playing this specific character and that it would develop like this with Mr. Cropper?
Oh, no.
What did they give you at the beginning then?
They just told me for the audition, they said, she's called Hayley and she's fun.
Right.
So I had like Bette Lynch in my head. So I ended up literally in a leopard skin coat. And I was just like, and Judy Hayfield, the casting director, just like smuggled me into the room and was like, look, it's just be like, I don't know how to say this to you. This is going to be quite a big deal. And told me that Hayley would be trans. And I took it really seriously from the start.
Yeah.
It was like being able to Google stuff. So I just went straight to Frontline Books, which was this like radical bookshop in Manchester, giving me everything on trans. But it was all like really like proper like American queer radical writing. So not very helpful for Hayley actually. It's like
doesn't
really
work.
into like Kate Bernstein and stuff. So I did really, really want to do it properly. But what I didn't realise that from the writers, it was actually going to just be a bit of a joke. So Roy was going to have a series of dates. Hayley was the first one. And the kind of like punchline was that he would fall for her. She would say, I'm trans, and he would freak out and she would go off into the distance. And so I didn't know that. And it was, very different times.
Yeah.
And so I went in, and what they didn't bargain for was this chemistry between Hayley and Roy, and that people got behind him. And I've said this so many times, but that's how you break down prejudice. If you're in people's living rooms 3, 4, 5 times a week and they're rooting for you, the issue that's attached to you doesn't matter.
No.
So people were just like, and I literally, oh my God, I really have said this so many times, but I would be in the supermarket and like old ladies would come up to me and say, when are you and Roy getting married? And I'd be like, well, we're not
they fall for
allowed
it.
to.
They're really there for
then,
it.
yeah. And they'd be like, never mind that. And I'd be like, that's how you change the world.
Amazing.
That's how you change it.
And what about the departure though? Because it was ever so sad. No, did you want to leave? Was it coming to the end? How did it happen?
Yeah, so I'd been in it for obviously 15 years when I decided to leave, 16 by the time I left. And it was a massive decision. And it was a slow thing. And what happened is I'd done a play at the Royal Exchange about Sophie Lancaster. And I just take a little bit of time off to do it, thinking I'd just have a break and do it. And I just realised doing that there were other stories I wanted to tell. And people always remember the beginning of Hayley and the end of Hayley.
Yeah.
What people don't realise is that for a lot of that time, I was just pootling around. You know, I was having a lovely life. You know, I met my husband, I had my kids. I was like going home to like, you know, my house just outside Manchester. And it was great, but I weren't having these massive storylines. It wasn't like impact all the time. I was just like, I was mainly in the factory, you know, I was like chorus of brilliant, like, you know, factory girls. And Sean. And I was just like, so I was ready to do something else. And it was a huge decision. Everybody was really supportive of it. So I decided to go. And I knew that they would kill me.
Yeah.
Because I knew that they couldn't separate. I knew that David didn't want to go.
This was what I said, though. They could not like have you going off into the wind without Roy.
No.
Yeah.
So I knew. And I thought it would be something amazing. I thought it might be something heroic. Like rescuing a kitten, you know, from railway tracks. And then when they told me what it was going to be, and honestly, I owe everything to that last story because it was such a long story, and it was so beautifully written and so beautifully told, and it was life changing for me because it made people see me differently as an actor. I think so it gave me a real platform to go on to do other things. So it was heartbreaking. I mean, it actually broke my heart.
It was for the viewer.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it as a viewer. Me and my husband watched it with a bottle of whiskey and a bog roll. And we went through the bog roll. And it sounds awful saying that because I feel like I'm saying like, oh, I was like crying at my great acting or something. It wasn't that. Because it was so many things. I was saying goodbye to this person.
You're grieving now.
She became part of your life. And like realistically, like even nowadays, you know, Hayley Cropper is she's a British icon. She is. Not to put on your ego, of course. But she was.
But it wasn't anything to do with me. You know, I was like I was a conduit for it, but it's the writers who did it. And I know that, and I know the responsibility. And you know, like Anna Rack's in like the permanent queer exhibition at the People's History Museum, and I know that place. But at the same time, it was absolutely the right thing to leave when I did, because I think I'd be such an anachronism now with all this discussion about, you know, cisgender people playing trans. And I agree with it.
Right.
I absolutely agree with it. So I'm just like, that wasn't a conversation until I'd left, actually.
Yeah.
And so it would be a very, very difficult thing for me to justify playing that part now in the way that I could hand on heart when I took the part. So it worked out really, really brilliantly. And now it's opened these doors for all these amazing trans actors who are coming through.
100%.
You know, I know, which makes me so happy. You know, it's just.
Do you think if you'd still continued playing the character that there'd be a lot of backlash now?
I think there would, because even now people say, you know, people talk about trans representation and people mention Hayley, you know, now and again I'll get tagged in it on Twitter and people are like, oh, but she's cisgender, you know, and should she? And I'm just like, I'm really, really at peace with it all. Taking the role because I did it absolutely for the right reasons and knowing I was representing a community and taking that seriously and standing absolute shoulder to shoulder as an ally.
Yeah.
And then when I left, it being the right thing to do too.
Amazing. Well, we're going to keep you with us because, I mean, there's so many stories. We've not even touched on Broadchurch, have we?
No.
We've not even got there yet. But in the meantime, our Caroline Whitehead has been setting up a lovely event at the Cathedral, and she also got a little phone call this week as well. Check this out.
Just under 300 people attended, and we really rocked that. Sorry, 1 second. Jules! Listen, Jules. Okay. You don't write, you don't ring, you don't answer my calls. I sent you messages saying this fantastic event was on. No, you didn't respond. Sorry, no. John Coley, You'd have been so jealous with his guitars. Fantastic guitars he makes himself. The sound that was coming from him.
It's one word, like it or not, 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 it's one word.
Yeah. Rachel McFarlane, what a voice! Don't tell Ruby. She'd give Ruby a run for her money. Yeah? And Emma Mould, literally, those angels at the top of the cathedral were dancing themselves. Emma brought the house down. I'll see what I can do. All I'm going to say is, I'll see if I can get them to come to your hootenanny. All right, you take care. See some people, you snooze, you lose.
Brilliant, and you can't speak because you were doing that a lot of the night. That's what it is, and we were all singing. That's why we were boogieing away, weren't we? Yeah. It was absolutely brilliant. Whether you're religious, whether you're not, it doesn't matter. Honestly, such good tunes. We were toe tapping, we were dancing around. It was great to be out with all our mates as well after COVID. That's what I think.
And what about the cathedral?
Oh, the cathedral's beautiful. 600 years old, isn't it? And it's just so gorgeous. I mean, like I said, I'm not religious, but I love these types of buildings, and I love looking around them, and I love looking at all the architecture. I even count like little bits in the brickwork because I'm like that. I don't know, I'm a bit weird, but I like stuff like that, you know. I just think it's beautiful. And all you have to do is when you come in is just look up, don't you?
Yeah. There'll be an official film coming out of Emma Mould's album launch. Please keep your eyes peeled. But like I said, thank you for coming. Have a fantastic week. Peace out.
Here's what's happening across Greater Manchester this coming weekend. At the Bolton Octagon from Friday, you can see an adventure, a story of extraordinary journeys by ordinary people. Don't miss this regional premiere of this critically acclaimed play, written by Vinny Patel. Also on Friday night at the Stockport Plaza, comedian Jack D is live on stage. And on Friday night at the Waterside Arts Centre, you can see one of the most respected musicians in the world, Andy Fairweather Lowe and his band. On Saturday night at the Oldham Coliseum, you can see Notflix, the improvised musical, for one night only. And over at the Stoller Hall on Saturday night, there's an evening of Irish music with the Sharon Shannon Quartet, who are celebrating their 30th anniversary. And the Manchester Open Exhibition 2022 launched last week and is at home until the 17th of March, with over 2,000 pieces of artwork created by over 400 Greater Manchester residents adorning the wall of the gallery. And don't forget, if you have an event that you'd like us to mention, just drop us a line, contact us at yourmanchester.com.
Yeah. There we are. So look, you're chatting away.
Sorry, I can't help but we're besties now.
It's fabulous.
You can't put someone who's in the room that's been on Doctor Who and not expect me to talk about Doctor Who.
Of course, you were in Doctor Who as well.
Yeah,
it's
actually one of my favourite episodes.
Go on, then you can have a geek out.
No, it is.
No,
I love
go
it.
on,
I
have a
love
geek
the
out,
Cabana
I'll
episode. It was probably my favourite episode of Series 11.
Who was the Doctor then?
Jodie.
Oh, yes.
It's my favourite episode of that series with all the Amazon Man.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
She got herself to be. Oh, I loved it. It was great.
You might as well be speaking a different language. I tell you, you're Doctor Who. I'm still into She-Ra. No, it's fabulous. So you've done Doctor Who. I mean, we could talk. Your CV's got to be quite as many pages as Sue Gray's report, surely.
Hey. But with no redaction. Well, yeah, I've been dead lucky. I've done quite a few things. Yeah.
Why acting?
Why acting?
Why acting? Why?
Oh, that's a really good question. I suppose it's because I just started doing it at school. I mean, it's nothing really exciting, you know. I started doing it at school. There were a couple of teachers, you know, as everyone's story is, who saw something in me. And I'm like, you know, I'm like properly right on, as you know, I'm like proper work. And I always were. So I was always just like, oh, I should be a social worker, you know, I need to change the world. And actually, I met a really inspirational teacher who just said, like, well, you can do stuff to change the world, do this. And, you know, I didn't realise how much it can do, actually. And I've been really, really lucky because I've been able to do both things. So, you know, I've been able to play parts that have had something to say about the world, and that's my favourite thing, you know. So, obviously, with Hayley, the A word, you know, which I played a specialist needs teacher in, and, you know, that beautiful things to say about, you know, people who are neurodiverse. Broadchurch was all about rape and sexual assaults, you know. I mean, it's all that.
It's all family fun, of course.
I know. And it's like, and I do think actually, I mean, I have done a couple of, I've done Inside Number 9 and I've done Catastrophe. But comedy on my CV is quite thin on the ground.
Is that something that you want to do more then?
To do like to put me through the mill.
So if there was like things that you want to like now, because obviously you've got more free time for different work, what kind of work do you want to be working towards?
I would like to do more comedy, and I'm about to do a comedy in London on stage. I can't say any more than that about it because nothing's signed and sealed, but I am about to do that, which is great for me because I think I'd like to do. I love it all, you know. I love it all, but I think we all need a lot of comedy at the moment. So it's like,
we need a lot of comedy. However, though, if you are feeling a bit down, don't worry about it. We've got our lady here now.
We do. We've got our minute of mojo.
It's Jo Britton, your personal performance coach, for another minute of mojo. Do you remember when you were a small child playing make-believe? Perhaps you were an astronaut or a Disney princess, or maybe you were scoring the winning goal in the World Cup final and you truly believed that was you and that anything was possible. Then life got in the way. It threw a ton of curveballs and lemons at you, and suddenly you started doubting yourself. What if I'm too old or too young to do this thing that I want to do? What if everybody is better than me? Oh, I'm not smart enough to do that. Or maybe you're doing pretty well in what you're doing, but suddenly you get this imposter voice in here that says, I'm going to be found out as a phony or a fraud any moment. If that sounds like you and you relate to it, you're not alone. I call my imposter voice Nina Nitpicker. She is like the bully in the school playground, and she never has a nice word to say to me, but she talks a pile of fiction. So I'm really conscious of her because she holds me back. And what I always want to do is knock her on the head. And so this is how I tame her. 3 little tips that you can use to knock your Nina Nitpicker on the head as well. First of all, I listen out for her voice. When she's saying unkind things to me, I say, thank you, Nina, for keeping me safe, and now I choose to do this instead. The second thing I do is if I hear her, I make her sound ridiculously silly in her voice. Then I start to laugh, relax, and I'm able to get on with what I want to achieve. And the third thing that I do is I craft I am beliefs. These are new beliefs that I'm going to tell my brain are the truth for whenever Nina comes out to play. I am capable. I am smart. I am the perfect age to do this thing that I want to do. Try some of those techniques anytime your imposter voice is getting in your way. I'll be back next time for another minute of mojo. In the meantime, you can connect with me on my Instagram account, jobritton.mojo, for more motivation and mojo fueling tips.
don't know why, but I always feel calmer after listening to
I
it.
completely agree. It always just really chills me out. It's
What
the
do you do
voice.
to calm down, Julie? What do you just keep calm and
What
relaxed?
do I do to calm down? Well, I like a little bit of meditation, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I do start my day with a bit of that. Yeah, because I wake up a bit frantic. My mind's... Yeah, so I just sit down and just like, just a few deep breaths, a little bit of stretching.
Just a simple meditation. Lovely. You don't sit there like you're being Doctor Strange flying in the air.
Well, I don't want to give too many secrets. Do a fly on the wall. It might be quite embarrassing.
Oh, I tell you, there's so many people in Manchester that, as young Manchester, we are dying to speak to. And one guy we were able to catch up with quite a few weeks ago now, but we've got his VT finally here for you, everybody. This is Gareth Worthington's story.
My name's Gareth Worthington. I live in Ancoats and Beswick. I live in Ancoats. My job takes me walking around the entire city, so I tend to take my camera everywhere with me, and I take quite a lot of photos. My background is hospitality. I've worked in bars since around 1995 at Generation X and Mantos. That was in kind of mid 90s, and then in the kind of late 90s went to Dry Bar and worked through. So now I've kind of, after all the years of working in bars, I finally left it about 4 years ago, and I used to have a nightclub around the corner called Sound Control. Now after that, I've kind of gone working for Cityco, and instead of solving my own venues problems, and I try and solve all the venues problems and try and help them with everything from grants to the road closures to licensing issues to everything really. It's everything I can to keep them trading. I'm not that political. I don't want to be a career politician. I don't want to be an MP. All I want to do is care about where we live. I love Ancoats and Beswick. I'm a season ticket holder at Manchester City. I live in Ancoats. I lived there for about 8-9 years. I absolutely love it, and I already do quite a lot of the stuff in the community anyway. Like I set up the Neighbourhood Watch, I do the Ancoats Food and Beverage Network, I help set up the New Islington Neighbourhood Watch, and various other things. And I do quite a lot for the Neighbourhood Watch. I'm actually currently stood as chair for North Manchester, so I have to cover all the areas. So, there's many little issues that just need sorting out, from the car parking, the fly tipping, the speed of the traffic, the antisocial behaviour, that just needs sorting out, and I really want to get in there and do that, because I'm quite practical from working in the industry that I've done in the nighttime economy, and I've been part of the Manchester Pub and Club Network, and I'm a big fan of working in partnership with residents groups, developers, police, the Manchester City Council. It was during lockdown. I've been just messing around, taking some photos with my phone. So my fiance, she actually bought me just a cheap little Nikon. That's it. I've been absolutely hooked. All I'm doing is just going out. I have it with me everywhere I absolutely go, and I just find it so relaxing and just peaceful, just taking the photos. I love how colourful this city is. I do. And there are some fantastic photographers out there, but there does seem to be a bit of a trend, where it's kind of some of the more famous photos, like the rain one down the bottom, down the bottom of Deansgate. But it makes it look. Manchester looks quite bleak. Whereas if you actually walk round, just down Chester Street here where we are now, or if we walk round, you can see all these wonderful colours and wonderful buildings that, I love it. I took one of the canal the other day, and kind of what you see is kind of what I've seen, if you know what I mean. And that's what I really try and capture, is the colours and the vibrancy of this city. Even on the greyest days, Manchester looks beautiful. Manchester can look absolutely stunning. The other day it was torrential, horrible wind, ice, wind, rain. And I was coming down Oldham Street, and just this little bit of sun peeked out. And Oldham Street, the bottom bit there where Piccadilly Gardens is, looks absolutely wonderful. And I just stood there in the rain, just taking as many photos as I could of it. And then it got to the point where the lens was so wet, most of them didn't make much sense, but I actually enjoyed them photos even more. I'd really want to get onto roofs of places, and really take the photos to capture the city from above. I love Manchester. I think most people, everyone who knows me knows I love Manchester. It's where we're from, and it's absolutely everything. I can go out of a night time and the bustling streets, the amazing nighttime economy that we have in this city, from the Northern Quarter, the Village, Oxford Road, they've all got all the different areas of their own personalities. So the perfect Mancunian is friendly, helpful, loving, passionate, and has an excess of civic pride, obviously. I always joke, when my fiance used to actually live in London for a bit, and it's like I'd be on the train down there, and all of a sudden, as I was going down, my parker would get slightly bigger and more zipped up, and my accent would get a bit more defined, and I'd be like, yeah, right. Now, nobody in London cares you're from Manchester, but I was very proud to be from here, and it's a case of, Mancunians do have a certain pride. We've been through quite a lot in this city, with the bombs and various other things, and now obviously with the pandemic, I've seen some amazing things with amazing people, going out the way to help each other and to help each other get through this, and it's been I love this city basically. But the perfect Mancunian is all of them things and more. I like to live by the mantra of be the person your dog thinks you are. The city's just going to change, and for the better. I am Gareth Worthington. This is your Manchester.
And now, hopefully bringing us a little bit of sunshine, my friend and yours, Paul Rudd.
This week I've come to the beautiful Upper Mill here in Saddleworth. Hello my lovely weather watchers, and welcome to this week's weather forecast with me, Paul Rudd. And this week it's the calm before the storm. Storm Corrie is passing through Manchester, so that means very wet, windy and unsettled conditions. Let's check out this week's weather details. Thursday is looking like rain with the temperatures of 10 degrees Celsius. Friday is looking sunny, cloudy with rain with the temperatures of 6 degrees Celsius. And as we head into the weekend right now, Saturday is looking like rain with the temperatures of 8 degrees Celsius, and Sunday is also looking like rain with the temperatures of 8 degrees Celsius as well. So get the umbrellas at the ready, get wrapped up nice and warm. And now, from me, Paul Rudd, here in Upper Mill, Saddleworth, it's time to go back to the studio for this week's brilliant episode of Your Manchester.
There we are. Yeah. It's not going to be too bad. It's going to be gusty.
It's going to be gusty.
Lots of gustiness. Yes. Do you have a favourite time of year?
Oh, do you know what? I love them all.
Yeah.
I love spring. When it's spring, I'm like, I think spring's my favourite. When it's summer, I'm like, oh no, summer is autumn. Nice. Maybe not winter. Maybe winter's just like slightly below. But yeah, no, I really love autumn, but I love the spring.
I don't mind what season it's, as long as I like the wind. It feels very releasing.
Yes.
I hate feeling a bit cold.
You don't like
and I say that from someone from Northern Ireland. It's cold all the time. It's freezing.
Yeah.
It's Baltic. That's the exact term.
Yeah.
But like, I just love a bit of sun. It's nice and chill.
Yeah, I like the long evenings.
Yeah.
Walking on front pub in like the evening light. Yeah.
Someone says, should we get a picnic? Should we sit outside? They're like, yeah. Should we sit in the garden?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I tell you, we're in our own little world there, thinking about we've had some lovely comments about, we've had one guy, John Unsworth, and he says, love you, Julie, you're an amazing actor.
Oh, that's very lovely.
And then we have this one as well from Darren George, Desmond Johnson Jr. I mean, how many names can you get on one line? I mean, honestly, I tell you, he says, you've changed the world we live. And we are always grateful for that. So, I mean, it's fantastic.
Well, again, like I say, it's not me. It was like a whole team. But thank you. I'll have it. I'll take it.
Just before you go, we've got to talk about your appearance of your voice on one of the best known game shows. I was sat at home. We were waiting for it to come back on. We were expecting it to be good. We weren't expecting to hear your voice, though.
I know, it's so funny because I did it in a couple of hours, and it's like, and I'm dead chuffed to be asked and whatever. I've had more tweets about it than I had about Broadchurch, and I was just like, in fact, I said to my agent, I said, should I be worried? I was like nominated for a BAFTA a couple of years ago. Now I'm doing voiceover.
The Weakest Link.
And I'm getting lots of love for it. Yeah, it's lovely though, innit? I like it with Ramesh doing it. I think it's good.
It's good.
But yeah, I think that's what's happened. People are just like watching it, and then there's something like, hang on.
When you see the last of the contestant next, you'd go like, that's my voice,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. They don't see it, they're on them. Stick to
the gig.
Imagine if they did, and you would just sat behind the curtain as they walk past. Say that about me, I'll have none of it. Listen, it's been such a pleasure having you here today. Thank you so much for this. You are one of Manchester's legends.
Well, that's very lovely.
I think we need to get our Stan Chow to do a lovely portrait of you to feature as you go into the Great Northern Warehouse.
Oh, yeah, well, I'd like that. I'd like that, because Maxine's got one.
I know.
Just saying, Stan.
Well, just saying.
And just thinking, a few years' time, we'll be having this conversation again, Julie, and you'll be a dame. Because I mean, think about it. All these legends now. You've got your Judi Dench and all them. They're not going to be with us for a whole no longer.
Don't tell me that.
What happens?
So we need our next generation of fantastic dame actresses.
Lovely Sally got her OBE today, which is really. I don't know which one's which, but but in that lovely.
That is nice. Yeah. Is that something you'd work towards, getting an OBE, MBE?
No. I don't believe in the honor system, I'm afraid.
On that note, everybody, a massive thank you to each and every one of you. I love we ended with that.
Always a great moment.
Thanks so much to each and every one of you for watching this week, and stay with us. A fantastic show next week. I wish I did not close my phone down, I could tell you, but we have got an amazing show for you lined up, so make sure you check it out. Check out all our socials as well, and we'll be back with you at 8 o'clock next Wednesday, only on Your Manchester.